Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl. In this problem, we're asked to make a scatter plot for the data that's included here. What we have is data that describes the number of Walmart stores in the year 2008 through 2014. So to create a scatter plot, I basically want to convert all of this data into ordered pairs. The ordered pairs will all have the form XY, and they will correspond to the given data. Now, before we go ahead and make our chart, we need to talk about making a scatter plot. Every scatter plot should have a couple of different things. First of all, it should have a title. So we'll begin by making the title of this graph the number of Walmart stores. And it probably also would be helpful to put the year. So this would be from 2008 to 2014. The next thing we need to label our axes. Now our x-axis is going to correspond to the year, so I'll label that as the year. The y-axis will be the number of stores, so I'll label that number of stores. Another thing that you really need to include when you're making a chart is to put the source. And the source in this case is going to be Walmart Incorporated. Okay, so now that we have our basic structure down, we need to look at the data. Now you'll notice that my x-coordinates are starting at 2008. Well, it doesn't make any sense to start at 0 because I don't have any information for what happens in the year 2 or the year 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a break in my axes, and I'm going to begin at 2008. So this will be 2008, and then I can fill in all of the other years. In a similar way, when I look at my y-axis, which represents the number of stores, I'm starting at 7,700. So again, it doesn't make sense to start at 0, so I'm going to put a break in my graph. And then, this first mark, I'm going to choose to start at 7,000. And I'll go in increments of 1,000. So this is 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, and 12,000. Okay, I believe I'm ready to start plotting my data. So my first coordinate that I would like to graph is 2008, 7,720. So along the x-axis, I'll move out to 2008, and vertically, I'll move 7,720. So that's going to take me right about here. So that's more than halfway between my 7,000 and 8,000 mark. I'm really approximating here. All right, so let's take a look. The next data point is 2009, 8,416. So at 2009, I'm going to need to go to about 8,500, a little less than that. So that's going to be right about in that location. The next point is 2010, and that's 8,970, almost to 9,000. So at 2010, I'm going to go almost up to 9,000, which would be right about there. For 2011, I'm at 10,130. So from 2011, I'll go the whole way up to 10,000 and a little bit higher than that. So that puts me right about here. 2012 is next. The data point is 10,773. So I go up to 10,000 and I need to go to 773. So that's more than halfway between 10,000 and 11,000. So that looks like it belongs right about there. 2013, 10,942. I'm almost at 11,000. So at 2013, I'll go almost up to 11,000, which is going to be right about there. And finally, 2014, 11,453, almost halfway between 11 and 12,000. So that's going to take me right about to there. I have all my data points marked, my graph is labeled, and I've got my result. I hope that was helpful. Thanks.